Hello and thank you for joining me today. My name is Wesley Boudreau, one of the financial advisors here with the Retirement Group. Today I'm going to give you a really quick update on the interest rates and how they're affecting the lump sum calculations for ConocoPhillips employees, because we're seeing some of the lowest interest rates we've seen in the history of the company, which again is correlating to some of the highest lump sum options you may see in your career. And before I get started, if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to us at 1-800-900-5867. We'd be more than happy to help you run a calculation or update a cash flow analysis just to see where you stand. Now, for those of you who do not know who the Retirement Group is, we are an independent financial advisory firm that focuses on helping corporate employees transition into retirement. We've been doing this close to 30 years, and we work with about 25 to 30 different companies, ConocoPhillips obviously being one of those. The reason we do that is so we have a good understanding of your specific benefits plans, so that we can help you when it comes time to transition to retirement and make sure you do not make any mistakes and leave any money on the table. Now, we've got offices throughout the country, so if you need to sit down with us one-on-one before or after retirement, chances are we've got you taken care of. But also, we do run that complimentary cash flow analysis I mentioned before, which is one of the best ways to kind of see what your options are, whether you're a year out from retirement or 15 years out from retirement. That can help determine the best day to retire and the best investment plan or strategy approaching retirement, as well as beyond retirement. So before we get into the actual lump sum and the interest rates, depending upon where you were hired originally, there may be some different pension plans you're focused on. The three we tend to come across the most often are going to be the pension plans for Conoco and Phillips and the ConocoPhillips cash balance plan. We're not going to go over the cash balance plan today, but generally speaking, there's a contribution that ConocoPhillips puts in for you, and it's going to grow based upon treasury returns year over year. Now, that's going to be for newer employees that participate in that, or if you changed your pension election back when they changed it to the cash balance plan. But for the day, we're going to focus on the Phillips retirement plan and the Conoco retirement plan, which both of those are going to be a classic defined benefit plan, in which case there's a calculation looking at your years of service and your final average pay and a multiplier to determine what your single life annuity is going to be. Now, from that point, that single life annuity could be a different choice if you decide you want to actually have a joint survivor annuity. If you're married, you want to make sure your spouse is taken care of if you should pass away. Or you can look at turning that into a lump sum if you would like to take those assets and manage them on your own to try and generate your own income. That's what we're going to give you an update on today, because what happens is in order to get that lump sum, ConocoPhillips is going to take a look at what your life expectancy is, how much they're paying you for the single life annuity, and what the interest rate is right now. And if interest rates are lower, they have to give you more money in order to try and meet that same single life annuity return that you would have otherwise gotten. So right now we're seeing the interest rates having come down quite a bit dramatically over the last year or so, which is increasing those lump sums. If you take a look at this seesaw little graph at the bottom, essentially speaking, what's going to happen is when interest rates go up, your lump sum goes down. But right now, when interest rates go down, your lump sum is going to go up. And we've seen that happen over the last year. Actually last 15 to 18 months or so. Now, when interest rates change by 1%, you're going to roughly see a change in your lump sum by anywhere from 8 to 12% depending upon your age. So to keep it simple, 1% equals 10% roughly in the changes from interest rates to your lump sum. Now, for ConocoPhillips, there's actually two calculations. They use the 30-year Treasury for the years prior to 2009, and they use the Pension Protection Act segment rates for the years after 2009. So if we take a look at the chart below, what they're going to use is the June 2020 to correlate to the fourth quarter 2020, and they're going to use April 2020 to correlate to the third quarter 2020, which we're in right now. So if we look at the 30-year, that's 1.46%, and it actually changes to 1.49% from third quarter to fourth quarter, so actually a slight increase, so it's not too much. But if we look at the actual segment rates, that's where there's a big change. The first segment's going to correlate to the first 5 years of retirement for the calculation. Second segment's going to be years 6 through 20. And the third segment's going to be years 21 and beyond. For most of you, the bulk of your retirement is going to fall in that second segment. So that's one of the bigger numbers to take a look at. Now, if we look at June, those numbers are actually 0.74%, 2.57%, and 3.32%. That's going to correlate to the fourth quarter 2020. Now, if you were to actually retire and commence your benefits now in third quarter, it's actually quite a bit higher at 2.22%, 3.08%, and 3.73%. If we went all the way back to the fourth quarter of last year, it's even higher at 2.41%, 3.51%, and 4.16%. Now let's focus on that middle segment. From about a year ago in the fourth quarter of 2019, it was 3.51%. Now fourth quarter 2020 has dropped down to 2.57%, so almost a 1% change. Same thing on the 30 year. It's gone from 2.57 down to 1.49, so a little bit more than 1%. So with that being said, that 1% drop over the last year should have turned your lump sum into about a 10% maybe or more gain over this last year. So if you had a $500,000 lump sum last year, it could be $550 now. $1 million could be 1.1, $2 million could be 2.2. So again, depending upon your situation, if you're looking at retiring in the next year or two, we definitely need to keep you updated on these interest rates as they change, because the opposite holds true if interest rates go up. They will go up. The question just is when and how quickly will they go up. So if we do see interest rates go up by 1% over the next year, then that $1 million lump sum could actually drop to $900,000. Depending upon how much you make a year, you could effectively be working for free your last year of retirement if you lose $100 in your lump sum, if that's what you're going to take, and you made $100,000. Now, if you're taking the annuity, none of this matters. It's just for the lump sums. So again, ultimately, the best way to review that is to run that cash flow analysis so we can help you determine the best day to retire. We can look at various retirement dates if you'd like to, and we can look at the lump sum versus the annuity side by side so you see what they look like not just now, but how they look in 5, 10, 15, 20, or even 30 years down the road in retirement. Now, at the end of the day, obviously, we'd love to work with you. We'd love to do business with you. We do understand if you're working with somebody else, and that's great. We do recommend you get a second opinion. We actually recommend our own clients do this every few years just to keep us on our toes. But if you are working with somebody right now, just make sure they do have a full understanding of your benefits plans so you do not make any mistakes as you transition. Make sure you have an understanding of their fee structure. We are fiduciaries, so we're transparent on our fee structure. We're also not a one-size-fits-all firm, in which case everybody goes into the same cookie-cutter approach. Our job is to actually run that cash flow analysis to determine what you need, and then back into some investment options that may suit you, and go through the pros and cons with those. Make sure you're also working with an investment management team, so you've got a team supporting you behind the scenes, not just one individual trying to do everything. And ultimately, again, run that cash flow analysis. Make sure if you're running with somebody, make sure they're doing it from a conservative perspective. Do not be optimistic about it and suffer some losses in retirement. The goal is to be conservative, almost pessimistic, so that if you survive the retirement plan we put together for you, you're definitely going to survive it in reality. So with that, I want to thank everybody for taking a little bit of time out of their day. Again, this was just a brief update on the interest rates and the effect on the lump sum right now. We do have other more detailed pension webinars available. And again, any specific questions, just give us a call at 1-800-900-5867 or visit us at theretirementgroup.com. We'll be more than happy to help you out and run those updated that cash flow analysis or run any updated figures for you. Again, I want to thank you for joining me, and I hope everybody stays safe.